Anyway, welcome to the Fancast podcast, where we give you your daily dose of sports as well as a way to ask for more. I am your host, Neth. I am with Bryant, Cody, and Mario today. Guys, say what's up.
What up, yo?
And anybody else? Okay. What the hell was that?
Happy Christopher Columbus Day weekend.
Oh my gosh, the salt is still everywhere. All right, so let's lighten things up. Talk about baseball. I think this is the first time that we're actually going to be talking about baseball. Let's make this good. It is playoff season. I don't really watch baseball, and now that the Boston Red Sox are no longer in the playoffs, there's really no reason for me to get into it. But everybody loves betting in some form or fashion, and so we are going to do a pre-pick'em type event with the MLB brackets for the playoffs. I'm gonna go through and tell you the scores and who's probably gonna face who, and you tell me who's gonna advance past that round. All right, here we go. So we're starting off with the Yankees versus the Indians. That's how much I don't know anything about baseball. Cleveland Indians, right?
Embarrassing.
Yes.
All right. It is tied 2-2. They're going back to Cleveland. Bryant, who is winning this series or this game, whichever one?
All right. So the series is tied 2-2. So that means that the next game wins. So this game literally does determine the series. Great work in your baseball knowledge, Nathaniel.
Yo, I told
2.
you what it was.
I respect that. 2. I don't know a whole lot about baseball either. So
Holy shit.
if there's one thing I've seen in baseball, it's the movie Major League. And I know that the Cleveland Indians in that movie at least made it to the World Series. So
I'm straight they did.
Cleveland advances to play Houston.
All right.
I agree with you, Brian. Not because of the movie Major League, but because they have been one of this year's biggest winners. They had the longest win streak of the season, and they've looked hot, especially here in the playoffs. I mean, the Yankees won 2 games; those games were at home. I think the Indians are still a little salty from losing to the Cubs last year in 7 games, and I think they get back to the World Series. They're going to move on to play Houston, and that's a series I'm excited for. I think that'll go 7 games as well, but I think Cleveland pulls out to go back to the World Series this year to get vengeance.
I want to say that I've seen Moneyball. Since we're all talking about baseball movies, we've seen it, and it was a great film. But with this, Cody, you mentioned that streaks are so important in baseball. Cleveland's on a 2-game losing streak right now. Yankees are on a 2-game winning streak. I'm going to go with the team that's hot, going with the hot hand. Yankees beat the Cleveland Indians in Cleveland. Move on to the Houston Astros.
For the viewers, Mario, what team do you support in baseball during the regular season, during the playoffs, and in the World Series?
I'm a Yankees fan.
All right.
Thank
you.
Won't lie.
That's all.
Oh.
Unbiased, though. Unbiased. I'm just looking at streaks. I'm just looking at numbers.
Let's move on.
Moving
Let's
on.
move on.
Who's next?
Yo, I'm next, and I'm gonna quote a baseball movie and say "Angels in the outfield" applies to this scenario somehow.
There are no Angels in the playoffs.
Yo, shut up! You need angels. You need angels on your side to win, baby.
Who wins this? Who wins this?
Who wins this? Cleveland wins this. The sea takes it for the land. All right. The Cleveland Indians didn't get the job done the year that the Cavaliers won their title, but Cleveland is on the come up. Angels in the outfield. I feel like Danny Glover was in that movie. He was one of the Angels. Am I right? I feel like I'm right.
really
Danny
don't.
Glover, totally
I
an
really
angel,
don't.
grabbing people, and like they're gonna take this. They're gonna take.
Have you seen the
the
movie?
Indians. I'm pretty sure I've seen the movie.
I don't. It doesn't
Pretty
sound
sure.
like you have. Next matchup.
Danny Glover was in it.
So we got the Cubs, Chicago Cubs, against the Washington Nationals. Cubs are 3 seed, Nationals are 2 seed. The Cubs, the underdog, currently lead 2-1. Brian, who do you like?
You know what's the best way to break a curse, Mario Adamo?
What's the best way to break a curse?
With back-to-back World Series victories.
Woo!
Chicago Cubs win this series.
You see, the problem I have with that is they don't have the curse breaker. Papa Ross, David Ross, who was literally a part of both helping the Red Sox and helping the Cubs win.
Moneyball.
Curse breaker Papa Ross has retired. I think the Nationals take the NLDS. I think they come back and take it. They have just looked better. The Cubs have had like an up and down all season. They've struggled with their pitching. The Nationals are finally healthy, and I think they will go to the NLCS for another great series with the Dodgers, which I think will probably go like 5 or 6 games as well.
This one's tough because I have a strong feeling that Washington Nationals are just going to Washington sports themselves. They're going to do the same thing the Nationals always do, where they just kind of implode. The same thing that the Capitals always do, where they're just always great. They're always the 1 seed and just somehow always lose to the 8th seed. It blows my mind. The Redskins haven't had a great track record recently either. But Washington resists the urge to Washington themselves, and the Nationals move on to play the Dodgers.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and say that the Cubs are going to win this series, and that's about it.
I really like those teams to begin with C.
Look, what can I say?
That you like.
All
the
right,
teams.
so if the Cubs end up winning that series, they're going to face the LA Dodgers in the NLCS. Who do you think is going to win that matchup between the Cubs and the Dodgers?
What if I think the Nationals and the Dodgers win? Who do you think's going to win the whole thing? Who do you think's going to win the pennant?
Man, I've already put my eggs in the Chicago basket here as a statement. I think we're looking at a Houston-Chicago matchup in the World Series, and I think Chicago takes it in 6 games. Bold predictions.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with... So I think Washington's going to play the Dodgers in the NLCS, and the Dodgers are just too good. Unfortunately, like you said, Mario, they always find a way to Washington themselves. I think they do that in the NLCS. And the Dodgers pull ahead, especially after their pitching has looked tremendous. They got Clayton Kershaw. They literally have one of the best pitchers in the game on their side. And I think it's going to be a Dodgers-Indians World Series. That's going to be tough. I mean, part of me wants to say the Indians because they got to break that curse. They now have the longest curse in baseball ever since the Cubs broke theirs last year. The Indians have it's like 60-something years, and I think the Indians are going to do it. They got momentum. They got the hype on their side. I'm going to have to go Indians.
I'm going to stop you there because I'm not on this Believe Land hype train because they're going to lose to the Yankees, and then the Yankees are going to upset the Astros.
Oof.
But,
Oh my goodness!
And then of course on the NLCS side, Dodgers are going to beat the Nationals. I think Dodgers are just too good right now. So we're going to have a blue and white all around World Series. I think the Dodgers pull ahead. They're like we talked about, their pitching is just amazing right now, and that's where it all starts. That's where it all comes down to. Dodgers win it.
I just hate Yasiel Puig.
Why?
Like, he just seems like such a jerk to me.
Oh, sure, but
It's
good at
just
what he
like,
does.
Yeah,
sure,
his attitude is poor.
but it's just like in terms of like dealing with a sport that I'm not 100% familiar with. Somebody like Yasiel Puig is gonna put me off from LA, right? Because it's like every highlight I've seen of him being a jerk to somebody, it's like, it's not. That doesn't really make me want to root for you, LA.
I mean, I will say that I'm a huge Justin Verlander fan. I think I followed him when he was in Detroit, and it's going to pay me to watch the Yankees beat him when they beat the Astros, but I'm not just going to let one player decide my playoff bracket.
Look, doesn't matter. The Cleveland Indians are going to beat the Yankees, like I said. Then they're going to handle the Houston Astros. LA's going to come through after beating the Cubs, but they're going to fall to Believe Land in Cleveland. It's a done deal. Moving on to basketball, someone got paid, and I think he got way overpaid. Joel Embiid just signed a extension. It is a 5-year, $148 million deal. As just a little just a little add-on to that. If he makes an all-star game, a all NBA team, it could balloon to 170 plus million. This man has played less than 40 games in the NBA. Though I believe in the process, I don't think you pay this much for the process. I mean, you needed to keep him, but at the same time, at this price point, it may bite you down the line if you're trying to speed up your rebuilding process at all. I know you have the cap room, but I feel like this was more of an extravagant expense on the part of the GM and owner of the 76ers.
See, I agree with you. I think this themselves in the foot because a lot like you, I don't necessarily believe in the process, but I believe in the fact of that the 76ers are an up and coming team, but you don't pay somebody $140 million who's played like 36 games in 3 years. It's just, why? Why do you do this? There's no reason.
I can tell you why, if you want to hear why.
I really want to hear why.
You do this because it shows that you're all in on the process. And I'm not calling Joel Embiid the process based on his nickname. I mean, the process of being bad for so long, getting just talent, and then cultivating and brewing this talent and brewing this chemistry so that way, when the NBA is open for the taking, you're able to just swoop in as the team to beat right out the gate. What they're doing is they're just... And this is a great move. This shows it. They're showing that they're all in on it. They're all in on this move. They want him to be the cornerstone, and he has the potential. It's high risk. It's high reward because they have the potential to build a dynasty. And what they're doing with this is they're showing we're all in on this, guys. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts. And I like that they're doing this young. Like I said, it's all about chemistry right now. You want to make sure your guys can play well together. Because I think you kind of saw in the Miami Heat days with LeBron, D-Wade, like it was just fun basketball because they just had fun, but they also helped that they're both really good at basketball. So that's what they're doing with this. They're just getting these players who have the high risk, high upside, making them have fun playing together. It's a great move.
See, I think there is a but though, in the fact that I think Joel Embiid was already believed in the 76ers as a team because he constantly expressed how he really felt that the 76ers were the future, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why as a business sign what is realistically an unproven entity in Joel Embiid to such a high contract, such a long-term contract, when he really hasn't proven that he has longevity at such a young age?
I think it comes down to they see something that we don't. They obviously see something that the general media, or the general public hasn't had eyes on, and even though he hasn't played many games, they believe in their training staff, God bless them. They like what they see. There's a reason why these guys wrote this check. It wasn't just, the pen didn't fall and sign on the dotted line.
But don't you think that they could have continued to build the process without signing him to such a massive deal? I mean, was it really necessary to sign this guy in the preseason before he's able to prove anything consistent with his longevity to such a huge contract?
Well,
Couldn't they have kept him under his rookie deal
I think
and see what he did this year and then be like, hey, if you can play a full season and show that you're at least trying to build up to your potential, then we'll sign you to a long-term deal after the season. I just don't get why the need was there now to sign him to such a massive long-term deal when he has an injury risk. And it's not like one season. It's 3 seasons now where he has struggled to stay healthy. And I don't want to say that it's going to be like a Greg Oden situation, but that's it. You got to look out for that because it could happen. And if it does happen, they just lost a bunch of money
It has a lot of incentives, the contract. It has a lot of incentives to protect themselves because you're right, it's a giant injury risk. But by giving him this contract now, it says a couple things. They want to build his confidence to get him back on the floor. But by signing the contract, it means that by offering the contract, that means they believe he's worth the contract. And I think that's just so huge for the confidence. I think that's a great step towards getting him back on there and making him play like he deserves that contract. And I'm happy we talked about baseball before this because Moneyball is actually relevant here. But there's a point where Jonah Hill turns to Brad Pitt. Spoilers, because Brad Pitt gets offered a contract to sign with the Red Sox and leave the A's, but Brad Pitt loves the A's. And Jonah Hill says by seeing this big contract, it means that you're worth this contract. And even if you don't believe it, guess what? They believe it. And that's what the 76ers ownership is showing Embiid. Saying, listen, we believe you're the guy. We believe that you're the cornerstone of this future process team in a post LBJ and a post Golden State Warriors super team world. They're all in on it. You show the contract to say we believe.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Joel Embiid has the potential to be one of the best big men in the NBA, which realistically isn't a whole lot to say with how small the NBA typically has been the last few years. But I could see just an amazing rivalry between him and Karl Anthony Towns, right? Like, those two players are arguably the two most hyped people at their position. I just think maybe somebody like Karl Anthony Towns has proven that he can survive a full NBA season, and somebody like him maybe should be receiving a contract extension over a Joel Embiid.
Look, at first I was really thinking that this wasn't a bad deal, but honestly, Mario, you made some great points. This isn't that bad when you look at it. Out of the extensions that have been signed this summer, this is really low. There's a lot of incentives in it, and it's really just a big old confidence boost. You knew you weren't going to trade him, or you were going to match whatever offer that he was offered in free agency. You know what I mean? The 76ers were not going to give up on this. So in that sense, I feel they said, we don't want to maybe overpay for something that we know we can afford right now. It may seem like a lot, but I think they have the flexibility in their cap space to make up for this in the next 2 to 3 years.
I don't know. I just think and Mario, you said that they did it to boost his confidence, but like Bryant said, he already bought into the process. He already believes in the 76ers as a team. I think they did it to boost their own confidence and to hope that maybe he does live up to it in their eyes. I don't think they need to boost his confidence. He's already bought into the process. It's not about keeping him motivated. It doesn't matter how much you pay a player. If he can't stay healthy, he can't stay healthy. It's not about motivation. I think the motivation has always been there. It's just his health. That's the problem. And just because you pay him $158 million doesn't mean he's going to stay healthy. Like, that's not going to keep his...
No, he's not putting all that into an exoskeleton. Like, he's going to enjoy his payday. But like I said, he, even no matter how much he has bought into the process, when someone offers you a check of that much money, it means that, guess what, you're worth this much money. And I could sit here and tell you every day that, like, this process, like, this thing's going to be great, and you can say, yeah, I know, I'm so excited for it, but it's really just, it's something concrete. You can't feel, like, I can't see and touch excitement, but I can see and touch a check. And this is just their way of embodying the confidence and the excitement. I think it's great. I really think it's a good deal. And you've already risked this much with the whole process thing. It's like, what's a check?
I mean, a check can be a lot for a team.
It's $140 million.
What's $140 million?
Yeah, it's nothing these days.
Yeah, nothing. Chump change.
I don't know. I just think it's too high risk for the 76ers to do. Only time will tell how the move pans out for them.
As a quick point, both Kyrie Irving and Stephen Curry were hurt a lot during the beginning of their careers, and look at them now. I know that it's a different position, but just the general mindset. All right, so I was thinking about this a little while ago, and I want to ask you guys this question. If Kyrie Irving and the Boston Celtics take down LeBron James in the Eastern Conference Finals, then go on to beat the Warriors or whoever else comes. Wait, what am I saying? The Warriors in the finals. What do you think that does to Kyrie Irving's legacy, and what do you think that does to LeBron's legacy? Today was the first day, in I'm going to say the better part of a decade, where I've started to think of a post LeBron landscape. What is LeBron's legacy? What could derail that legacy? And I think that scenario is kind of what was in the back of Kyrie Irving's mind. Like, somebody talked to Kyrie and was like, "Yo, if you just did this Snape shit real quick, you could be the man in the East." And that's what he's trying to do. I mean, I can't fault him for it. If you're going to come at the king, you have to come correctly. But I think a loss to Kyrie Irving and the Boston Celtics, and then to see them go on and beat the Warriors with Kyrie Irving as a major, like, hitting another game-winning shot, that's the best scenario Kyrie Irving can ask for, and maybe the worst one that LeBron can ask for.
Okay, so the way I look at it, if this scenario were to happen, in my opinion, it would obviously skyrocket Kyrie Irving's legacy, right? As just clutch, ice in the veins, just dominant overall NBA player. Definitely puts him in contention for at least a top 15 player in NBA history. I again, in my opinion, don't think it does much to damage LeBron's legacy. Remind me, Nathaniel, how many straight finals has LeBron James been to?
LeBron James has been to 7 straight finals.
How many other players in NBA history have done that, Nathaniel?
If you're not a Celtic, you haven't done it.
Right. How can people disregard that? We have not seen a LeBron-less finals since 2009. You know what else was in 2009? Like the iPhone 2. Okay? LeBron James is easily the greatest player of our generation, of today's basketball generation. You could argue that Michael Jordan was around our generation, but none of us really understood basketball to the degree that we understand it now. I don't realistically. First off, I don't see Kyrie Irving and the Boston Celtics beating LeBron James, but if that were to happen, I don't see it doing much to hurt LeBron, but just skyrocketing Kyrie for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that it would obviously skyrocket Kyrie and the rest of the Celtics. Maybe it wouldn't fully damage LeBron's legacy. It would definitely put an end to the whole king talk and who's the kings of the East. I mean, it would definitely put an end to that conversation. But you do have to look at, if LeBron loses another finals, I mean, what will that do to him? I mean, it will affect him a bit if he loses. Sorry, I mean, if he loses to the Celtics and doesn't make the final. I mean, you can go to the playoffs a bunch of times, but if you're losing to get to those playoffs, what is that going to do to your legacy? I mean, I know he's farther on in his career, and has less of a supporting cast now than you could probably argue he ever did. So I think you could look at it as, well, did LeBron ever do it by himself? Because he's by himself now, pretty much. I mean, yeah, he has Dwayne Wade, but is that really a supporting cast? I mean, he's more or less the only star.
Yo, why y'all dogging Kevin Love?
K-Love?
Kevin Love is a tremendous role player, guys. He is a tremendous role player.
Yo, he's a legitimate starter.
He was an all-star!
Starter. You didn't listen to me. I'm not saying starter. I said star. A legitimate NBA star. Whereas before it was Kyrie and LeBron. Now it's just LeBron.
The Bosch effect.
Yeah, let's just forget about Isaiah Thomas there, you little fan. Now that
Isaiah Thomas isn't in the conversation this season mainly because of his injury. If he was healthy all season, then yes, I would agree with you. But he's not going to be back till February. I don't even think you mentioned him this season.
He'll be healthy playoff time. That's what
He'll
matters.
be more than healthy. Wait, hold on. Cody, are you saying that the Boston Celtics are going to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers?
I believe that they could. I mean, obviously, they picked up.
I want to hear I asked you a yes or no question.
Yes.
Do you believe that
Yes, they do. I do. I really. Why that's so crazy to think is beyond me. They almost. I'm not saying they almost beat them last year. But they went to play them last year, and they have significantly improved their team.
they've significantly improved
Yes.
I think
in relation to the Cavaliers?
I agree that the Celtics have significantly improved.
In relation to
But-
themselves.
In relation to themselves, not in relation to the Cavaliers.
I also
Have
wanted
the
to be
Cavaliers
known.
improved?
Yes.
What? Okay, so we took your best defender. We took your best wing defender. That's one. Okay. We swapped point guard production. You lost every stable role player you had, and we just gained more depth. We have a starting 15.
Do
in the
you?
East.
I would
We have
argue
a starting
you
15 in the East.
Jose.
All right, and Jose Calderon could start on any team in the East, and they'd love
Oh
him
my
for it.
God, no! That is
Any team in the
absurd.
East, and they
That
would
is
flip it, love him.
absurd to say.
And also, he's when healthy, he is my third string point guard. Also, we have
No, he's the second string point guard.
Isaiah Thomas, Derrick Rose, and then him. You're gonna put
No. He's ahead of Derrick Rose.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
I'm sorry. At this point in his career, with his health concerns, he's ahead of Derrick Rose. Just
Are you
pure
watching? Are you
consistency.
watching
Derrick Rose is balling out right now, though. Oh my god!
Until he's not. I mean, okay, maybe while he's healthy, he's gonna be the first man off the bench to play the point. But I just realistically, is he gonna last all season? Is he gonna stay hot all season?
Yes.
Cody, we might have to fight in real life. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I know you're a big Derrick Rose fan. I know you believe in him.
I will never not believe in Derrick Rose.
You and
I
all
know
of
you
China.
won't. He could literally be a vegetable, and you would still believe in him more than anybody. But I don't know. For you to say that you have a starting 15 and all of those players are starting caliber on any team in the East is just absurd to me. I don't think there's many teams that you could say that about. I don't even think you could say that about the Warriors.
You could.
I mean,
You could definitely say that about the Warriors. You take any one of those players. But real quick, I want specifics. Why do you think your team would beat my team? Specifically. What matchup can you exploit and win 4 games out of?
and I want to just clarify by saying my team, your team, we're talking about the Celtics versus the Cavs.
Celtics versus the Cavs, and my team being the Cavaliers.
Awesome.
yeah. I just think, you added Kyrie. Okay, let's look at who the Celtics lost. Okay, they lost Avery Bradley. That hurts defensively. Okay,
And
you
offensive.
lost Jay Crowder. That's a big man that you're losing. You're losing some offensive production. You're losing a pretty good wing defender. I think Gordon Hayward slots in there just fine and fits the bill for him. Had we not gotten Gordon Hayward, I obviously would not be having this conversation. I liked Jay Crowder. But at the end of the day, having Gordon Hayward in as your small forward is better than having Jay Crowder in there. Kyrie Irving is a star-level point guard. I loved Isaiah Thomas when he was with the Celtics. Loved him. I did not want to see him go. You can ask. I was the last person that was a supporter of that trade because we gave up that pick. But, if I'm being honest with myself, Isaiah's health would have been a factor this year. And the Celtics knew it when they traded him, and they got a star point guard who has a chance to elevate his game without LeBron next to him, without LeBron stealing the show in Boston, and I think he will do just that. And you still have Marcus Smart, who has proved to be more than capable. You still have Al Horford. Overall, I think since they significantly improved since last year, when they played them in the Eastern Conference Finals, you have to make them a good bet to surpass them this year.
I mean, significantly improved. They got blown out 4 out of 5 games. Like, one game they lost by, what was it, like 40? So just...
That wasn't 40.
It was,
It
like
was bad, though.
Yeah,
It was bad.
It was like 30
It
something.
wasn't 40. Also, we had some injuries. We didn't have Isaiah at the time. I mean, yeah. Yes.
I'm just saying, like, the
They
bar
did
to
get
improve
blown
from
out
is,
last
like...
year. They
real
also
low.
had Kyrie, and we were without our star point guard.
Guys, all of your arguments aside, okay? I'm going to post something in the Discord that's going to be the game changer for the Cavaliers here.
Oh my
why,
god.
why the Cavs are going to win this series, okay?
Yo, are the Kardashians being canceled? Is the show?
This is something that I didn't know existed on the Cavs roster until I was literally just looking at it. And that is Mr. Kendrick Perkins himself.
Yo, he's trying to make the team. He's looking good. He's in shape.
I cannot believe this man is on the Cavaliers roster right now.
Starting 15.
He's my bench.
Oh, okay. But you have a starting... I love Kendrick
All
Perkins.
right, here we go. Let me break it down.
Love
for you,
Kendrick
Cody.
Perkins.
Cody, let me.
But
please
not a
break it down
starting
for you.
caliber center in the NBA. He's just not. I feel like you're speaking out of pure heart right now, if your love for the Cavaliers, by saying they have a
Okay.
starting 15. Can you go through their roster and
I
prove
will. I'm
why
gonna
they
go
have
through
a
their
starting
roster.
15? I'm not
I'm
saying the Cavaliers are amazing. They are great, but I don't think they improved minimally. They did not
Yeah, okay.
significantly improve over the offseason, at least not enough so to make me believe they can continue to reign over the East.
I don't know. I think the Cavs
I-
definitely made a late push here with some of their last signings with
Let
Derrick
me just
Rose.
say, signing Derrick Rose and signing Jose Calderon, to me, is not huge significantly to help their team. At the end of the day, they're going to come off the bench if they stay healthy. When I say they, I mean Derrick Rose. Jose Calderon is not what he used to be. He is a backup caliber point guard,
Which he is.
not a starting point guard
Which he is on this team though.
in today's NBA.
All right.
See,
I
but
love
that's
all
the
your
thing.
points.
All right, all right.
Look, I
We
love
could
all
argue
your.
about this all.
We could argue about this all day. I'm not about to break this down and take up other section spots just for this. But thank you so much. I really needed a good laugh. It's been a tough
We'll
day.
revisit this come regular season. We can revisit this
We
topic.
could definitely revisit your team being undermined. Moving on to football, we are doing our weekly pick'ems. I'm sorry, guys. We are actually going to start with the NFL winners and losers. My winner, of course, is the Baltimore Ravens. We're back, baby. We did have that. We did slide a little bit. Don't get me wrong. Was I a little concerned? Yes, I was. I was looking at my defense. I was looking at my offense. I was looking at my special teams. I was looking at the coach of my cheerleading squad, trying to figure out what was going on with this team. But, thankfully, they read that horrible internal memo that I sent to everybody and got their shit together. They are the winners of this past week of football.
Now, I'm gonna do something that I haven't done yet in these winners and losers segments. I'm gonna go with a homer pick here. I was tempted to pick Carolina in this one, but I'm gonna go ahead and go with Philadelphia as my winner. Mainly because Carson Wentz finally had his breakout game, if you will. Threw 4 touchdowns, really just shredded the Arizona defense. And our defense, which has been depleted over the beginning of this season, really showed up and only allowed 7 points from Arizona. Definitely think Philadelphia is a big winner this week.
My winner, maybe a shock to some people, but even though they lost this week, they are still a winner. Personally, I think the Chicago Bears are the big winner of the week. And I'm saying this because, I watched the game the other night, and Mitchell Trubisky is the real deal, in my opinion. So if you look at his stats, he was, 12 of 25. But anyone who watched the game would have understood that that wasn't fully on him. His receivers dropped a lot of his passes. And the offensive line didn't really help him out much. Most of his throws were outside of the pocket. But he showed a lot of athleticism, a lot of mobility. And he gave hope, I think, to a Chicago Bears organization that had, frankly, just not had much. He gave the fans something to cheer for. They only lost by 3 points. Honestly, they almost won. Okay, the Vikings almost gave up the game in the second half. It was tied 17-17. I think the only reason the Vikings won is because they got that last second field goal. He was the first rookie quarterback to start on Monday Night Football since 1999. And that's a lot of pressure. And we knew, and I said last week when we were doing the pick'ems, that they would have he would have his ups and downs. And this wasn't his greatest week stat-wise, but he definitely showed that he's got some promise. He was chucking the ball downfield, kept the game competitive for the Bears. I think because of them starting him, they'll win a few more games this year, and their future looks bright. So they are my winners this week based on that fact.
My winners this week, it's a great week overall in the world of football, but I'm going to go Green Bay. Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers still got these comebacks in him. I'm still high on Detroit winning that division at the end of the season, but Green Bay went to Dallas. They were down in the fourth, and Aaron Rodgers had none of it. He came back with under 2 minutes left in the clock in the game, won the game. It's impressive. They're going to be a scary team when they make it to the playoffs through the wild card, because again, Lions win that division. Losers of the week, it's really hard to pick anybody who lost more than the Giants. Not only did they lose the game of football, they lost 3 of their wide receivers during the game. 2 of them, their best 2, OBJ and Brandon Marshall, done for the year. Do they win a game this year after this? I really don't know.
It's definitely a fair point to bring up, and one could argue that they have been the losers every week so far this season, just based on the fact that their offensive line is not there. They've had so many injuries. Now they're down to practice squad wide receivers. But my loser of the week is the Pittsburgh Steelers. They just got embarrassed by Jacksonville, specifically Big Ben, who threw 5 interceptions, no touchdowns. They could not get that offense going. And I don't think you can look at them and be like, they're a top contender in the AFC anymore. Not that Jacksonville is a slouch, but to lose 30-9 when you have, a Hall of Fame quarterback, a top running back, and, a superstar wide receiver, they're definitely the biggest losers of the week. I didn't see that coming, honestly.
I think you definitely both made very respectable picks here, both of which were definitely on my list for biggest losers of the week. Since you two have brought both of those two up, I'm going to go ahead and go with Dallas on this one, contrary to Mario saying that Green Bay was the winner. I'm going to say that Dallas was a pretty big loser this week. Dallas going from number 1 team in the NFC East last year, just proving that poor clock management can really make or break you, especially against an elite quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. You leave anything more than a minute on the clock with any sort of timeouts left, and you give Aaron Rodgers the football, you're just asking for trouble. And that's exactly what Dallas did against Green Bay. They put up a bunch of points, 31 points against Green Bay. That's all fine and dandy. But at the end of the day, if you can't close out that game with one of the best offensive lines and one of the best running backs in football, then you're doing something wrong.
You guys brought up a lot of bad situations. I'm gonna bring up the Houston Texans and also the Kansas City Chiefs. They both have had, in this past weekend, had some really tough injuries. The worst clearly going to the Houston Texans, who have J.J. Watt out right now with a fractured tibial, I think, plane or base or something. But there's a fracture on the top of his tibia. If you saw that game, that defense was doing well. They had just come off a week where their offense was clicking, and now to have not one but two of their star defensive players go down on this team, as well as you have some key people on the defense going down for Kansas City again as well. Kansas City did eke out this win, but I don't know how long we're going to be talking about how great Kansas City is if they keep losing players at this rate, and we're still so early into the season.
Yeah, I mean, offensively, they're going to have to keep the pace going with teams. I mean, you're right. The defensive injuries hurt, and they lost Eric Berry week 1. But Alex Smith has shown that he can keep up with any of the great offenses in the league, at least to this point in the season. So if he can keep that up, they should be okay. But you're right. The hits they took injury-wise on defense were tough, and then Houston losing J.J. Watt is really hard to swallow for the second year in a row, losing J.J. Watt. So that's going to put more pressure on Deshaun Watson to keep up his surprising start.
Do you start lowering J.J. Watt's stock now that he's had these two injuries back to back?
No.
I was actually going to ask, do you think that J.J. Watt's days are numbered in Houston at this point?
No. Man, raised, what was it, $200 million, $20 million for the city of Houston.
That was a big jump.
Yeah.
$200 million, $20 million.
I can't remember how many zeros are in the amount of money he raised for the city. But he's like Ray Lewis of Baltimore. Even if he starts running out of gas in the tank, which I don't think he is. I think he's had 2 injuries. People who've been injured have come back to play great. I think that he's just the face there. He's just, when you think Houston, when you think of players in Houston, who do you think of? Like, I think of Andre Johnson as one of the great Houston Texans to play, and I think J.J. Watt. And then I just think of Fitztragic there just being, again, tragic. And that's just for more comedy purposes. But J.J. Watt's not going anywhere. Yeah, he got hurt, but when he plays, he's just such a menace, not only because of how well he plays, but just the energy he brings to the team, to the home crowd. His days aren't numbered, unless he wants them to be.
You'll remember, though, with Andre Johnson, that man didn't end his career in Houston either.
He didn't, but I just don't see how you'd remember him any other way, and I don't see him. And I feel like Andre Johnson was more, he wanted to play a little bit past his prime. If you remember his indie numbers, they were not great. And I don't see J.J. Watt at least making that jump anytime in the near future, where his production's gonna jump off a cliff. I think he's still got it. I think if he's healthy, I'm still playing him every snap.
Yeah, I mean, like. Go ahead, Cody.
I was just gonna say, look at Gronk. I mean, you could argue the same thing about him, but just like Gronk, J.J. Watt, every time he's on the field, shows that he has an elite presence. And for that reason, football is a tough sport. I mean, it's easy to get injured playing such a heavy contact, physical sport as football. But I think that he's going to be okay in Houston. He's more than strong enough, more talented. He's going to stay in Houston, I think, especially if he wants to anyway. Like Mario said, unless he chooses to end his career there. They'll keep him there. They're not going to get rid of the face of the franchise. He's the face of the defense.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've learned not to hold my breath with the NFL. I mean, I thought LaShawn McCoy was the face of the Eagles offense for a long time, and we were pretty quick to get rid of him. Brett Favre was literally the Packer, right? The Green Bay Packer. Nobody could ever imagine Brett Favre in anything other than a Green Bay Packer uniform. And what happens? He's playing for the Vikings.
Oh, and the Jets. Don't forget the Jets.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
God, those
specifically a division rival.
Yeah, specifically a division rival in the Vikings.
McNabb
You know,
on the Redskins.
You just never know. You just never know what's going to happen in the NFL. And I just wouldn't be so quick to say no.
You know, I guess you're right on that. You really never know what's going to happen in the NFL, especially who's going to come out on top week to week. But let's go to our pick'ems and see who came out on top this week. Mario, tell me who. Actually, no, don't tell me who won the most games first. Tell me the breakdown from least to greatest.
Sure. I will. I will start by saying it was a close week last week. A lot of us had a similar record. In fact, Bryant, Cody, and myself all went 8-6 for the week, with Nathaniel slightly getting ahead, going 9-5 for the week. So the week
I feel like I was literally ahead.
slightly, but so the year-to-date standings, we have
Okay.
Bryant, last place, is 32-30 in his pick'ems. Cody is 36-26 in his pick'ems, and then we have a tie for the number 1 seed with Mario and Nathaniel. 37 correct, 25 incorrect.
Whew, gotta love the competition. Alright, so let's get to the pick'ems for this week, Mario.
Yeah, I'll fire them off. So, first matchup we got is Philadelphia Eagles playing at the Carolina Panthers. Brian, who do you like?
Man, this is going to be a great game. This is just going to be a really good game.
Yeah.
But I can't pick anybody other than Philadelphia. I think Carson Wentz is playing too well right now. Our defense is really fired up. I think we're going to play really well. I pick Philadelphia.
See, now I don't have the same problem that Bryant has, where I can pick other teams other than Philadelphia. And here, I think I'm going to have to go with the Panthers, just because Cam Newton has proved these last few weeks. I don't know if he heard our podcast where we talked about his lack of football IQ and how he was falling, because he has shown that he can be that star quarterback that they need. They came out and they beat Detroit last week. They beat a beatable Eagles secondary, kind of bring them crashing down to earth. So I'm going to pick Carolina here.
Daniel, who do you like?
I think that the Philadelphia Eagles defense is going to carry them through this win. I'm not concerned at all with their offense. The offense will produce, as will the Carolina's offense with Killer Cam there, of course. But I feel like the defense really is going to be with those Eagles. I think that they're going to play really physical and really try to get on the boys, which is going to make a great game because when healthy, the Panthers defense can just slug it out with anybody. But I see this like maybe a 6-point game, like a field goal or two, like one mistake here and there, but the Eagles are going to take this one.
Nice. I say Eagles win it. Again, Brian was saying this is going to be a great matchup, Thursday Night Football. 2 4-1 teams in the NFC. Great matchup. Eagles win it in a nail-biter. Next up, we got Chicago Bears at Baltimore Ravens. Who do you like?
Man, like Cody said, Mitchell Trubisky looked really good last week, but I don't think he has enough to beat Baltimore. Just the fact he doesn't have weapons to handle. I think Baltimore takes this one.
I'm going to go with Chicago here to beat Baltimore. Not even just because of Trubisky, but even the Chicago defense didn't look too bad last week. And I don't know if Joe Flacco and crew can get by the Bears D. So I'm going to go Bears.
You know what? Why would you even ask me this question, Mario? You know I'm going to pick the Ravens.
I didn't ask you.
Well, you wouldn't ask me. Flicking Flacco is going to flick and flack his way to the end zone multiple times. I don't even care what the score is because it doesn't matter when you win. So, Ravens are winning this game.
Flick and flack are just such weird verbs.
Flick and Flacco.
Okay.
Not
Flick.
Flacker.
Okay. Flick and Flacco. In whatever order. I agree with Cody. Chicago looked good last week. Or excuse me, just yesterday. Last week. And against the division rival, the Vikings. But I think Trubisky is going to surprise the world away when they play in Baltimore. I see them coming up with the win. Yes, their offense isn't. His wide receivers aren't helping them in the least bit. But if they can just slightly improve, which I believe they can, I see them confidently winning this game.
Confidently.
Sorry, Baltimore. I don't know what happened to Baltimore, but I'm not afraid of them right now. I'm not afraid of that division right now. I really don't think anybody from that division should make the playoffs.
Horrible.
But someone's got to.
Talk all the shit you want.
I will.
See you at the end.
I will keep talking shit. Next up, Cleveland Browns at Houston Texans. Brian, tell me the music to my ears.
No, I won't.
No.
Deshaun Watson is literally my Houston hero. And also, DeAndre Hopkins has also been very, very productive for my fantasy football team. So I pick Houston to win this game for sure.
Yeah, Houston's gonna win. Deshaun Watson has looked electric since he's been named the starter. And the Browns, I don't even know if there's a word to describe how they've been, but they're gonna lose another one.
Benched is the best word to describe them.
I think the Browns is a
who's
good
the
way.
starting quarterback for the Browns this week? Kevin something? Kevin Hogan? Kevin Hogan. I mean, come on. Who is Kevin Hogan?
You could make up a name right now and tell me they're the Browns starting
No,
quarterback,
Kevin
and I would
Hogan.
believe you.
Yeah, I thought it was a made-up name when I saw it, but yeah, I was like, oh no, Kevin Hogan. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I wanted this to be like my X Factor game, the game that would put me up top again. But man, can I not convince myself to pick? I was really trying hard. I was like, what can I say? How can I make this sound awesome? God.
Can't be done.
You just
Don't
can't.
worry, Nathaniel. Mario's gonna pick Cleveland. Just pick Houston.
Alright, go ahead and pick Houston.
Bryant, you're wrong. I finally learned my lesson. I finally got the help I needed. And I'm going with Houston. Cleveland. Cleveland, why? I was once blind, but now I see. I believed. I believe land, but just the wrong sport for believe land. I have no idea. Cleveland Browns. I don't know why. I don't know. There's no words. There's no words for me to describe you guys.
There isn't. There really isn't.
Next up, we got another divisional matchup. Not in comparison to last week, but just in general, a great divisional matchup. Green Bay Packers at Minnesota Vikings.
Whew. Man, talking about Brett Favre, stirring up all them emotions about this game. Oh. Man, this isn't hard at all. Green Bay's gonna win. Aaron Rodgers. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, Green Bay is going to win, especially since Minnesota doesn't know what it's doing with the quarterback situation. Green Bay pulls it off.
Aaron Rodgers looked amazing at the end of last game. I don't know if you saw him at the end of the drive. He was literally doing like the pointing on my back. It's like, I got this. This shit ain't nothing. There's no way that he goes up against this team and doesn't put up anything but godly fantasy points. Whoever has Aaron Rodgers is going to have a great week this week. Green Bay takes it.
Nathaniel, this is why I'm going to be ahead of you in the pick'ems
Oh.
this week.
Oh,
I'm
shit.
rooting for the home team. Minnesota Vikings walk away with the W. I don't know who's going to be their quarterback. I just know that quarterback will win the game.
Congrats, Nathaniel. On
Appreciate it.
taking the lead in the pick'em. Assuming you don't make any more surprise picks.
Next
You
up,
never know.
we got Detroit Lions at New Orleans Saints.
Man. Detroit on a losing streak right now. A little one-game losing streak. But I'm going to say they bounce back. They beat New Orleans.
Yeah, the Lions will come back against a porous Saints defense and win this game.
In my first bold pick and bold prediction, I'm gonna say that the Saints win this game.
And there goes your lead.
All right. Who dat nation? Yeah.
Yeah, when I look at these two teams, it's a great matchup. Both teams have an amazing offense. One of these teams has a defense, period. I'm going to go with the team that has a defense. Detroit Lions win this game. Next up, Miami Dolphins at Atlanta Falcons.
Oh, Jay, why me? Why you do this to me? Man, Matt Ryan not looking great this year.
Nope.
Julio Jones also nursing an injury.
Super Bowl slump.
But I think that running game is too good in Atlanta. I think they win this game, Atlanta.
Yeah, I think the Falcons come away with this one. Offense still too electric, even with the struggles with Matt Ryan. They're still better than Miami.
I'm gonna go with Miami. Yeah,
Ooh.
fuck it. Here we go.
If for no other reason, that is a reason.
That's it.
I'm going to go Atlanta. I know Miami's won a couple games I didn't think they'd win this year. And I don't think they're going to win this one, so I'm picking Atlanta. Next up, we got the New England Patriots. Excuse me, the third seed in the AFC East, New England Patriots, go against the second seed in the AFC East, the New York Jets. Never thought I'd say that in my lifetime. Bryant, who do you like?
I don't even know what to say. New York wins.
New York wins!
Wow. Those words just came out of your mouth.
Ooh.
They're at home, man. They're at home.
I don't know what that does for them. They're at home? I don't know. I feel like there's going to be more Patriots fans there than there are Jets fans.
Probably
I don't know.
Probably
There's
not.
only one New York team to root for right now.
I don't even know if there's a New York team to root for. Patriots.
I'd say the
Patriots.
second seed in the AFC East is a pretty good team to root for.
Patriots are going to come on top with this one.
I'm gonna pick the Pats. They got to start winning, right? Like we're not talking about them like we talk about the Browns at this
What
point.
do you mean they got to start winning? They won
gotta-
last week.
No, but that
They
they
gotta
gotta
start
prove
winning?
they gotta start winning. They gotta start winning consistent. Like they've won a couple games this season, but it's like they need to put a couple wins together back to back and show that they are the Patriots that we've come to expect.
You mean the Patriots that are like undefeated because they're not 5-0? People are like, oh man.
Guy,
These
I don't know why you're
Patriots-
getting butthurt that I'm saying they just need to win one more game.
No, I'm
Alright?
just saying.
Very
I'm just
butthurt.
the overall Debbie Downness of the talk when people are talking about the Patriots. It's like, oh man, I don't know.
Very
It's like
butthurt.
I mean, Nathaniel has a point. They've won and they've lost. They've won, they lost. Like
Just
or they
win.
lost and they won. Like
I'm picking them to win this game. I'm trying to give your team props. Like
that trend does not continue. They win.
Does that trend continue? Bryant thinks so. I love Bryant's boldness, but there's a reason why I have a better record than him in the pick'em. I'm going New England.
bro, I'm above 500 right now. I was 500. I made improvements. So here we go.
Crawling back. Next, I'm picking New England, yeah. Next up, we got the San Fran 49ers at Washington Redskins. Washington coming off a bye.
I think I got to go with Washington on this one. No real reason for it. I just think coming off a bye, they're going to be a little bit more fresh than San Francisco, and San Francisco has already proven not to be great. So Washington wins.
Yeah, same here. Washington wins. I don't know if there's real reason behind me picking them. Fresh coming off a bye. I still think they have a better offense. So, Redskins.
yeah, I'm gonna go with you guys as well. The Redskins coming off a bye. It's always good to heal up. So, Redskins.
Redskins aren't the only team going off a bye, guys. You don't have to just use that as the only excuse. I'm going to think that the Redskins are going to win for other reasons. One, because they're a better team. Two, because I don't think San Fran wants to win this game. I think they want to try to get the first pick. So they're just going to keep it close and then just not win in the end. So that's my reason, other than, a bye. Next up, Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Arizona Cardinals.
Tampa Bay is coming off Arizona coming off a pretty big loss there to a certain NFC East team that will not be named Philadelphia Eagles. I think that Adrian Peterson will not help this team win this week. Tampa Bay wins. Famous Jameis, Doug Martin, Mike Evans. Those are all players on that team.
Deshaun.
Yes, the Buccaneers win this game. AP does not help the Cardinals win this game or many others this season until David Johnson comes back. Bucks win it.
I'm not going to let you guys disrespect this man more than you already have. I remember when all y'all were talking about how he was so great, how he would throw parties for his brother, how he played Magic. Y'all were just riding that, calling him Purple Jesus. I remember all that shit you guys were talking, you assholes. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and pull through and pick the Cardinals to win this game.
Whew.
LaDainian Tomlinson fell off a cliff, too. Just wanted to be known.
Yeah, I'm going to say that I love the passion behind it. You almost convinced me to pick Arizona, but Tampa's just the better team. Arizona used to have a top tier, I'd say a top 3 passing defense, but they got exposed by Carson Wentz, who's only in his second year. Jameis Winston, also a younger guy, but they just have such great offensive weapons. In Tampa, I see them coming up on top. Tampa wins. Next up, we got the Los Angeles Rams at the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Man, I talked about Jacksonville winning their division, and I think that ball keeps on rolling. Jacksonville, man, going for them. Love those helmets.
You gotta be the only one.
This is the game of the week for me, honestly.
Oh my god.
The Rams have looked hot, but Jacksonville, oh my god, that team, Jacksonville wins. I think Jacksonville comes on top, but this is going to be a great game to watch. I hope it's nationally televised. This is going to be the game of the week, in my opinion.
Guys, LA is going to win this game. I've watched a couple of their games off and on, and they are not getting a lot of love as far as like stands, people coming to see their games. I don't know if they're just showing the wrong angles when I'm watching. But at the same time, the team is still performing well. I think that this team is on a mission to do well, it really ingratiate itself to the fan base. So I'm gonna ride the LA Rams to next week's winner's circle.
I don't think this is the game of the week, but I think this is a top 3 game. I think that Los Angeles has a sneakily just really good offense. It's just not getting enough credit. And I think that they can attack Jacksonville both in the air and on the ground. And Jacksonville's really struggled with defending the ground game. But
they're the number 1 pass defense.
They are the number 1 pass defense. And I will say, I think that the Rams kind of make the same mistake Pittsburgh made last week, where they just threw the ball too much against the best pass defense instead of running the ball against one of the worst rushing defenses. So Jacksonville wins it. I was really hoping other people were going to pick LA Rams, and I was going to sneak away with that one, but that's okay. A win's a win. Next up, we got Pittsburgh Steelers at Kansas City Chiefs. What do you like?
Big Ben should have retired, man.
Oh,
He should have just called it quits. He is having a rough season.
he is.
At this point, Kansas City is this year's New England, in my opinion. You just can't pick against them this year. I did that last week, and look where it got me. Only a little bit above 500, and not a little bit more above 500. I picked Kansas City to win this game.
Yeah, Big Ben did not look good last week. I think he has a better game this week, which
I would hope so.
won't take much.
Really hard to
he
not.
could literally. I mean, if he just throws 2 picks, he has a better game. But Kansas City, they've looked too good. Again, can't pick against them until they prove you otherwise. So Chiefs win.
I kind of want to pick against them just because of the injuries bit, and if they're not going into a bye or anything to heal up. I think they're gonna win this game, but man, if they have another injury, I don't know how long I'm gonna keep riding this train. Kansas City.
I mean, Kansas City has had 1 offensive turnover this year, and maybe I'm jinxing them, so I'm knocking on wood right now, but they've had 1 offensive turnover, and it was the first snap of the season for them. Otherwise, Alex Smith hasn't turned the ball over. Nobody on that offense has turned the ball over. I just don't see them losing anytime soon. Alex Smith is going to win MVP. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Game manager. Alex Smith wins this game, along with the rest of Kansas City. They win as a team. All right, so next up, we got Los Angeles Chargers, the other team in LA, in the fight for LA, at the Oakland Raiders. Brian, who do you like?
I think Derek Carr is playing this week. That's enough for me. I pick Oakland.
Bar's real low this game.
Real low.
Is he playing this week? I didn't know. I haven't seen reports on him. I thought he was going to be out 2 to 6.
It's possible. It's possible that he's playing this week.
Oh wow! I mean, I think if he plays this week, he's not 100%. I'm going to go Chargers on this one. I mean, they won their first game last week. Right, minus it wasn't against the tremendous team. They beat the Giants, But I think the Chargers come away with this one.
I've been high on the Oakland Raiders all week. I mean, not just all week, all season. They haven't really been coming through, but they're getting Carr back. The hype, I'm still on the hype train. Raiders take this one.
I'm with Cody in the fight for LA, and I mean this is going to be basically a fight for LA. LA and Oakland aren't that far apart. Don't get a map and quote me on that. But I like the Chargers. They won a game. They got the ball rolling. Oakland without Derek Carr is just such a mess. Amari Cooper is not playing like his usual self. I don't know what's going on in Oakland. If anything, I'm starting to panic if I'm them. I like Chargers to win back-to-back games. Next up, we got New York Giants at the Denver Broncos. Brian, who do you like?
Oh man, this is probably the easiest pick that I've ever made in my entire career of the 4 weeks of pick'ems that I've done. Denver wins handily.
Yeah, this is by far the easiest pick probably of the season. Denver, both offensively and defensively, is superior. I don't know if the Giants win another game this season. Denver wins easily. I'm surprised this is a primetime game. I think when they put this on primetime, they thought this would be more of a matchup for Sunday night.
This
Might
definitely
get
looks
flexed.
better on paper.
Might get flexed, who knows?
Yeah, I think they should flex that because that's. I mean, I'll watch it because I just want to see how bad the game, like how bad Denver shuts out New York. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Denver. I feel really bad for New York seeing OBJ cry like that. Yeah, Denver is gonna take this one, but it's gonna be so sad.
Yeah, I remember being surprised when the Bills beat the Broncos, but there's no surprises here. Denver's going to win this. If you're in a suicidal league, a pick'em pool, one of those things, you need to pick one pick for this week. That's a guaranteed lock. Denver beats Giants. Last but not least, Monday night divisional matchup. Indianapolis Colts at the Tennessee Titans.
Battle of the backups, man.
Oh,
I think Jacoby Brissett is a better backup than whoever's backing up in Tennessee.
Matt Castle.
Matt Castle. I thought it was him, but I couldn't remember. I think that just realistically, Indianapolis with Jacoby Brissett is probably better than Tennessee without Marcus Mariota. Also, Tennessee doesn't really have a great pass defense, and I think Indianapolis comes up with another victory this week.
This game is just a Patriots throwback for me. Two Patriots backups playing against each other.
Oh Lord!
Brissett against Castle.
Yeah.
I think Brissett's the better quarterback, but I've seen that looks like Mariota might play this week.
Oh.
In which case, I would have to go with the Tennessee Titans. But man, this will be a good game to watch. I really like this game. Not even just for the quarterbacks, but a good divisional matchup. It'll be a fun Monday night game.
I think this is going to be a good game. Like you guys said, two backup quarterbacks, each trying to play to the best of their ability. I don't believe in Matt Castle. I'm going to go with the Titans as well.
Matt Castle's
But Titans are...
My bad. I'm still going to go with the Titans, though.
All right.
The Titans, though. They're still my pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this isn't gonna be a great matchup. I mean, it's a divisional game, so anything can happen. But just looking at it on paper, this is not gonna be a great matchup. This is gonna be. I'll still watch it because I love football, but I'm not.
Well,
I'll be snoozing by halftime.
Two great teams playing against each other can be just as exciting as two bad teams playing against each other.
True. You lower the bar quite a bit.
It really can be, but I'm going Tennessee. They're my pick to win the division. Flying Hawaiian or not, I like their odds against the Colts. And that's it for Pick'ems this week.
All right, guys, thank you for joining us for another episode. If you liked what you heard here, please like and subscribe and leave a comment back down below. As always, I'm your host, Nathaniel. Today with me was Bryant, Mario, and Cody. Guys, say goodbye.
Peace.
See you later, guys.
Goodbye. Happy Columbus Day weekend.
Have a great weekend, guys.
Mario just having to throw the Columbus Day weekend. No, it was Columbus Day.